talking about long distance relationships. So if you are in a long distance relationship or you are considering being in a long distance relationship, maybe your online dating and your prospects locally is just shit, like what I'm experiencing right now. And you're thinking to yourself, maybe I should expand.
Baby, you don't know what you do to me. Between me and you, I feel a chemistry. I won't let no one come and take your place. Cause the love you give, it can't be replaced. There's no one else to do. That's why I'm in my love with you. I wanna please you in any way I can. I wanna share my world.
Hey, welcome everybody. This is Karina and Amber, your co-hosts for Dating and Marriage Perspectives. Damn good to the last word. We are so happy to be with you again. And if you are new to our channel, we really hope you stick around for a little while. How about that? We are joined today by Janae. Janae is joining us today. She leads the My Naked Mindset podcast. So we're happy to have you here. Welcome.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm super excited.
We are too. We are too, especially with the topic we're about to discuss. Before we get into it, we would love for you to comment, like, and subscribe right below. Don't play around. We really want to hear what you're thinking about our topic today. So make sure you familiarize yourself with these buttons right below our screen. All right, so today we're talking about long distance relationships. So if you are in a long distance relationship or you are considering being in a long distance relationship, maybe your online dating and your prospects locally is just shit, like what I'm experiencing right now. And you're thinking to yourself, maybe I should expand, which might mean a little bit of a travel to potentially meet somebody that could be great. So you might be in that category with me. So we're going to talk about our experiences with long distance relationships, taking it back just a little bit. Some of us are off the market. They're both are, not me. But they had their journeys. So we're going to talk about their journeys. And then sharing just some things to think about, you know, while you're in a long distance relationship or if you're considering a long distance relationship. So that's the intro. I would pass the mic to Amber.
Get it. All right. So I think we should first start off by defining, and Janae, I'm going to get your opinion on it. What would you consider what is a long distance for you?
Ooh, very good question. I would say a long distance relationship is potentially something that is not really doable in like maybe a day, you know, somewhere that you have to fly to, or perhaps, 15-hour drive. I mean, I think everyone has their own, definition of it, but that's kind of what I would consider a long distance relationship.
Yeah.
An
overnight bag.
Right.
Yeah, pack a bag.
Yes. Have you been in a long distance relationship before?
I have. So when I was in college, me and my boyfriend at the time, he lived in Idaho. He was in the military, and I am from Massachusetts. So we were, in a relationship. And then I ended up moving out there about 5 months after we started dating. But during that 5 months, I learned a lot, let me tell you.
Yeah, please tell us. I have to hear. We have to hear.
That's what we're here for.
Don't stop there. It sounded good.
What did you learn?
So, I mean, honestly, I learned so much about myself. I learned so much about like communicating and really being able to keep things spicy, keep it interesting, because obviously you're not seeing each other. So you have to almost overcompensate to a certain extent in other ways.
Sure.
So this was years ago. So Skype was still a thing. That's how I'm like aging.
That was a long time ago.
That was the Skype days. So We definitely
Wait
have
a
a lot of
minute.
like,
Do people even remember Skype? Please comment below.
That is a good
Or do you still
question.
have a Skype account?
that's
Well,
a
a lot of
that's a
our
good
viewers are
point.
40 plus, so
Okay,
Oh,
so
okay, data matters.
yeah.
so yeah, we did a lot of Skype dates, lots of sexting, lots of like, I think we even sent letters in the mail. I think it's just like you gotta
Oh,
keep it
that's
fun and
nice.
interesting,
That is,
some
yeah.
flowers in the mail go a long way.
Yeah.
Little things like that I think are just super fun. And it taught me a lot about communication and just like setting the boundaries and yeah.
How did you
Mm.
guys deal with, let's say, I mean, I'm sure you guys never argued, but if you did, how did you guys deal with that? I know obviously, like you were saying, you have to have a lot of communication, but if you did argue, like how did you guys settle that? It's not like you can just drive right next, pull up and be like, I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's a good question. And I think it comes down to like knowing each other's like communication styles because I think that some people, I'm sure you guys have experiences too. Some people are like, okay, I want to talk about it right now. And then some people like kind of need space. So kind of understanding what each other's communication style is when you're in an argument and just really being able to compromise on that a little bit. If the person's like, hey, I really need some space, you kind of have to obviously give it to them, but also in the fact of, yeah, you can't just be like, hey, let's hang out and clear this up. And so I think it's like you really have to say, okay, well, let's give it some time, let's talk in a couple hours, let's have a little FaceTime date and kind of talk this through. So I think just really being, like I said, overly communicative.
Yeah,
No, that's really good.
hard.
That is hard, right? And I'm that person that I want to fix it now. Like I want to know what the fuck is
Right?
the issue. Let's fix it.
Mhm.
Let's not sleep on this, and so that would be hard for me not to because
Yeah.
if not, I'm gonna go out to the club back in the day.
You do not want to see her out in the club. You will lose her.
That's right.
Like, where's she at?
That's
Oh,
right.
she's in the kitchen talking with
Oh,
the
that's
people closing the restaurant. True story. True story.
okay. That one
Asha, can you
time.
go get her? I can't. I just can't. Can you just go grab her, please?
That's
Talk
funny
about
because that
what?
did
What am I
happen.
doing? What are you doing? Okay. Well, that's another segment.
Making good food.
Yeah, big time. No, yeah, communication is a big deal because in a long distance, you probably have to schedule like a talk. Because if there's,
Mhm.
especially if there's a time difference
Yes.
and
Yeah.
something happened and I don't know, whatever, you have an argument and you have to schedule a conversation, it's just, yeah. There's planning involved. A little
Mhm.
bit more planning involved when you're in a long distance relationship, at least with that.
Definitely.
How would you know if the person's worth the planning? I'm just curious.
Oh,
Mm.
It's like, what steps do you take? How do you know? It's
is it
like,
worth the planning?
yeah,
Or is it like, how do you know it's worth having a long distance relationship?
really is what I should be at. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, with that person, like,
Mhm.
That's a good yeah.
like, yeah. And especially if you're not the kind of long distance relationship person you typically
Right.
are, and then you give it a chance, like, what makes that person worth it?
Yes.
To have that one, this must be real good pussy. That's all I gotta say.
Oh boy,
Yeah.
or dick. I mean, come on, right? Like,
Kidding, not kidding.
or-
You can hear Mama Joe right now.
oh yeah, you're gonna be in trouble.
I just talked to her yesterday too, so her voice is like right here.
So with like with Skype being old school and now luckily people have FaceTime, do you think that like remote work now has made it easier for people to have long distance relationships? It's really for both of you.
Yes, and I think we should go back to that question, like, what makes that person worth? I don't know if I have a good answer for that.
You already answered it.
Did I? No, I mean, it's just part of it. And it goes for both anatomies.
Yes. Yes.
it could another factor could be like if you met and you already lived separately, or if you lived in the same state or same area and then someone
Ooh,
moved away, so then you're kind of
right.
already like you're already in it.
Uh-huh.
That's
That
it.
is a good point.
Yeah.
Yes. Because then you probably, if they lived where you were, you probably already established that connection and
Right.
that bond and even trust, right? Because long distance relationship, you have to have trust. God, I couldn't even
Oh, big
imagine
time.
any more.
Those
That's
two
considered difficult.
times, the two times I had a long distance relationship, and I think age matters too. So we're talking, we're thinking back to, you know, our past experiences. But my first one was, I was 18 years old,
Mm.
and we spent the entire summer inseparable, like
Oh, yeah.
inseparable. And he lived at home with his mom. I was at home with my mom, but we were together all the time. So for like 2, 3 months, hanging out all the time. Then school year starts. I go off to college as a first year, and he's a third year.
Mm.
And we thought we could make it work, but you know, Skype didn't even exist
Yeah.
back then.
Mhm.
Um, I'm still playing tapes, you know, for music. We didn't have those accessories that we have today to be able to see the person like face to face. So we try to make it work. It didn't work out. We knew what we knew back then, you know. We didn't have the funds to travel back and forth during this, you know, the first semester anyway, to see each other. I think that's something else to consider is, do you have the
Mm.
funds to do the traveling?
Mhm. You know, that's interesting, Kay, because I don't know that when I was that young and um, newly going to college out of state and just living in one area at a time, I'm not going to lie, I went in a relationship, thought I was so in love. And then I felt like every person I looked at, I fell in love again at all these new people. So, you know, it's a question of, do you think going, you know, people going to college out of town should be in a relationship? I guess that may be a whole new show, but being in a long distance relationship and you're newly going to a different area, college, all that stuff and the experiences, I think is very tough.
Yeah. No, I agree. I agree. Again, it's like I knew what I knew back then. I was in love. I was in love with this guy, and he was with me too. And still, despite that, we couldn't make it work. Uh the other one was in my 20s, late 20s, mid 20s, mid
Mid
20s, late
20s,
20s.
mid 20s.
Making a little bit of money, not a whole lot, but still the travel was there,
Yeah.
like traveling back and forth. But that was hard. I was working, he was in school. We had to figure out schedules, like his finals and all this stuff, and then my events for my job. And you know, even then that was tough. And not
Yeah.
seeing the person every day, like I didn't really get to know this person on an everyday basis.
Mhm.
So every time I saw him, it was just like making love. Yeah. It was just like, yeah, good to see you. You know, it's like the honeymoon stage all the time. That's
Oh,
what I mean to say. Sorry, my mind is somewhere else. Yeah, it was like the honeymoon stage all the time because we go 2, 3 months without seeing each other.
Right.
mhm.
You're gonna make up for all the time that you missed, you know?
Oh, make them up.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, you know, that's interesting because my relationship when I was getting out of college ended up being, you know, we were together total for 8 years, but then I moved back to San Diego. And I think part of that too is I thought in my mind that he would follow me, but then in
Mm.
actuality, he actually wanted me to follow him to Virginia, and I wasn't moving to Virginia. And so, you know, through my work, I think I'd mentioned to you this ladies last time, somebody said to me, two loves apart makes for four happy hearts. And I felt like, you fucking bitch. Like, why would you ever say that to me?
That's horrible.
It's just awful, right? Like, who says that? I don't think but it ended up being true. But
Can you explain what that means? Because some folks might not
yeah,
get
like
it.
two people that love each other once they're apart in separate cities, they each have another relationship, so that makes four. Yeah. So I never like that saying. And I was very upset once I heard that. And, you know,
Mm.
it makes it even harder when you hear that, you think about that all the time. But again, I mean, he was ended up doing what he was doing anyway. So
Yeah, the
okay,
trust has got to be solid.
the trust has to be solid. Yes. Yes. Um, okay, so remote, like working remote nowadays, do you think that's easier for long distance relationships?
I honestly think yes, because like if I think about it, if I was in the position where I was in a long-term relationship, the guy lived across the universe, whatever, other state, I find that, depending on your work, you can work from basically anywhere. You could just go work for the week and enjoy, the nights with them. And
Yeah,
I think it kind of just gives that more flexibility. Like
Yep.
I don't have to take a week off of work to go visit him.
right.
I could just work and then we can just hang out. And honestly, I think it's a whole different universe for I'm sure folks that are in long term or long distance relationships right now with working from home. I feel like it's just a whole different ball game that I am very unfamiliar with, but I think it would be way
Yeah.
easier personally.
You have a lot more sex too, actually, because you can have sex during your lunch break,
Hell
or
yeah.
even your 15-minute break or whatever. God,
Tip.
so lucky. Yeah, that's right. People are so lucky
Tip.
nowadays. That's right. Just the tip, is that what you said?
No, it's a tip, as in like suggestion. See where her mind is going? She's just as
I
I
bad.
love
thought
She's
you
it.
just
said,
as bad.
my bad.
Girl after my own heart.
Yeah, right.
But there's
I
that
am
too.
making
I
podcast.
mean, there's that too. I welcome your frame of mind,
Yeah,
your
see,
perspective.
thank you. My perspective.
I love it. I love that folks can work from home and can work from anywhere for the reasons Janae mentioned, and not using your vacation to go see somebody and stressed out about that. Um, not spending so much time apart.
Mhm.
You can lessen that a lot more if one of us or one of the two people can
Mhm.
work remotely. So yeah, I like it. I think it makes it more doable.
Hmm.
Totally. And it does lead into that next question then about your love language, right?
Mm.
So what is your, well, I know Kay's love language, but Janae, what's your love language?
Oh, I love talking about love languages. So
Yeah.
mine is words of affirmation. I am just
Oh.
tell me all the things and
Yeah.
like then tell me again and again and again. Like that is by far my top one. And then I think my second one is physical touch. I love,
Yeah,
love the intimacy and just
yeah,
having the person close to me.
that's
Yes.
my number one.
Yeah.
Mm.
What's your
Yeah.
number two, Kay?
Quality time.
Yeah. Hmm.
Yeah, that's why long distance, I can do it to a certain extent, like dating someone in LA. Okay, 2 hour drive, 2.5 hour drive. Beyond that, again, remote makes things more doable, and I'm hoping my job is going towards that in a more
Hmm.
permanent status. But yeah, that's why he gets in trouble if we spend a month, 2 months apart. I am just gonna, I really want to say what I want to say, but again, I just don't know. Just want to spray all over you. It's just,
Oh,
Fuck yeah. I
I'm
love it.
sorry.
Love it.
spending time. I'm just like, I'm the relational person, and I need to have you here. And if you're not here, I want to have easy access, like a 10-15 minute drive. Hey, what's up? What are we doing? Boom, boom, boom. Yeah.
Well, then what would you consider like, Kay, I know you're the area codes that you have that you're looking at dating online right now. Are you willing to expand that though?
I did. I am
Okay.
expanding. I'm expanding. And
Okay.
I think that person is probably thinking the same thing. Like, wow, it's a 2-3 hour drive, or they're way up north, like San Francisco, you know, area. There's a guy I went on a date with, several dates. He came down from Cupertino.
Mm-hmm.
Cupertino.
California, it's a little bit more.
Wait, oh yeah, about an hour, 20-minute flight, but still, you got to get on a flight.
Right.
Yeah.
He was open to it, right? And I addressed it right away. I'm like, so I'm down here and you're up there.
Right.
Does that matter to you? And we talked about it for a little bit, and we were like, well, you know, if it goes somewhere, then we'll figure it out. But I think people think about it, especially at my age, like late 40s, people have kids and they have to consider that. And so I've expanded. I keep it in my mind, and I'm like, oh, I'm not finding anything down here in San Diego. So
Sometimes
that's
you
my
have
next
to.
step.
Yep.
It's good that you like acknowledged it right away, because it's true. Like, what if you start talking and then doesn't get brought up, and then you're like, oh fuck, like what do they even think about this? Like, I
Yeah.
think bringing it up right away, if you are kind of discussing it with someone that lives far away, just break it down and say, hey, what do you think about this? Because then you kind of just get to the point. Like, I'm a very straightforward person. I always have been. I think it's like one of those things that's like, hey, you know, let's figure this out sooner rather than later, so I don't waste my time. I don't waste your time.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And Janae, you live in Massachusetts, and
Mhm.
Karina's from Boston. Do you have any friends?
Oh, single friends? Oh,
Yes,
goodness.
just a thought. Just a thought. You
I
don't have to
mean,
answer on air, but
You
I'll have to
can
think.
answer
I'll
oh,
have
on
to think
air.
about it. I'll have
Because
to
guess
think.
what? Wait, I can't. I don't do it right. Why am I not doing it right? There we go. I'm fired up.
Hell yeah. Love that. Love that so
Thanks.
much.
What about if you are a jealous person? Would you suggest that they get into a long distance relationship? And if
Okay,
so,
why
how
does
should
that
they-
question matter? I'm so sorry, I cut you off.
Yeah, just I can't even say anything, huh? No, I'm just kidding. What do you mean? Why does it matter?
Yeah, I'm wondering why. I mean, I know we formulated the question, but I'm, you know, just for whatever. Why should we consider that question? Like, why does it matter to ask your potential partner if they're a jealous person?
Shit, because don't be showing up at my doorstep, you know, at 3 o'clock in the morning or looking through my window. That's the first thing. I also don't want to be questioned 24/7 about where I was, what I do. I mean, no, I'm not trying to have my hair fall out or go bald, or I mean, I got a lot of wigs, but we ain't got that much. Okay. And just peace of mind, right? Because honestly, in my mind, I would think that if you're jealous, that makes me think you're probably doing something. Just in my mind.
Ooh, ta-da! Don't
Just from
flip the
my
script,
perspective.
people.
Just from my
Yeah.
perspective.
I
But please,
mean,
ladies, go ahead and let me know why.
okay, so this is my thoughts. So I would say back in the day when I was in that long distance relationship, I would say I was a little bit jealous of just like overall. I was still kind of getting to know myself, and just kind of seeing what the dating world is all about. It was only my like second relationship. Um, so I think that you definitely have to have that trust, because right, if your man's going out to with his guy friends at a bar, like, are you gonna question him about every single person that he talked to? And oh, is he talking to a girl? Is he going home with a girl? Like all this. I mean, I'm an
Yeah.
overthinker naturally. So I think you have to have that trust. You have to have those boundaries. Like, and what are your boundaries? Is it okay if he goes out fucking all night and he doesn't talk to you all night? Or would you expect like, hey, like when you're out, just like shoot me a text saying, hey, I'm here, I'm having fun, this is who I'm with, blah blah blah. Kind of
Right.
just breaking down what your negotiables are, I guess you could say, and just kind of knowing, you know what, this is cool with me, and then like, maybe this isn't cool with me. But I think overall, you have to have like some sort of stability, and um I don't know, like it's really hard, because if you are a jealous person naturally, it kind of creates that, like you were saying, like, oh well, if is he gonna just like show up at my door, like, you know what I mean? Like there's so many layers to the jealousy, I think, too. Like, if
true.
he's jealous of you, is he going to be questioning you every time you go somewhere or you're doing something? And like, it can just get really messy. And then it's like, you're not there to see like, oh, well, was he cheating on me or was he doing something he shouldn't be? So it's like, I don't know. Your mind could go on its own race, I think.
Yeah.
And then it could
That's a
affect your
tough
other
one.
relationships too, like your work, right? I mean, your work
Mm.
relationships, if you're thinking maybe they haven't called, you know, they were out all night and then they didn't call and you're at work and then you still haven't heard
Mm.
from them. So I think also it's I think the other person could also help with that, especially going back to communication, just be like, "Hey, I got home. I'm okay. Had a good time." And I think that would help alleviate some people
Mhm.
if they are jealous
Mm.
as well.
That's
I
a
know.
good
How do
point.
you like? Yeah, the two are connected: jealousy and trust.
Yeah.
I don't trust you. Huh. Yeah, I think the two are kind of connected. Could they be separated though? Like if
Mm.
if we're not talking as much, or you're dodging my phone calls, or
Mm.
you're not answering my questions, or you're
Then
not saying where you're at. Like now with Facebook and Instagram, if you say you're at the library studying and I see these Instagram posts and you're at a bar with a bunch
Yeah.
of people, never mind like there are no girls around. You just you told me you at the library, but these Instagram posts are showing me that you're at a bar somewhere.
Yes.
If you're gonna make me work to trust you, I'd rather not be in a long distance relationship.
I don't think it would be worth it then.
Mhm.
And you know, people get stalked on, oh, I'm going out tonight, babe. Oh, okay, sure, go have fun. And you know, they're right there being like, let me see where they at. Let me see what's happening. Let me check their friends page to see what they're actually doing. I mean, you can just go down a rabbit hole.
No. Yeah. If I get to that point, I don't want to be to that point. Now, I don't know. I don't think it would lead me to being jealous because you're telling me you're somewhere, but social media tells me you're somewhere else. But if you start talking about, I don't know, this one particular person, or your Instagram posts are this one person always around,
Yeah.
right? And I don't know anything about them, then yeah, that might generate some jealousy. But I'm not a jealous person. I'm not a jealous. I could get jealous, but I'm not a jealous person. I don't know if that makes sense, but
Yeah.
I
I'm
don't
not
want
a
to
jealous person
exercise
unless
my
you
energy on these things.
I would not be a jealous person. I'm not a jealous person unless you make me start questioning myself and what's our relationship. Then I could think I could go down a rabbit hole. But in general, I'm not. I could give a shit less, but don't make me feel like I'm the one who's crazy.
True. Right.
That's
That's a
how
good
I
point.
feel.
Doing.
Something else to consider that we've talked about is, do you have the funds to travel and go see your partner, right? If you're in a long distance relationship. Who wants to expand on that?
Yeah.
I have the funds. I do have the funds to do it. It's negotiating who's traveling, when, how many times. And I don't have kids. If I meet somebody long distance and we decide to be in a relationship and he has kids, I'm probably more likely to do the traveling.
True.
And am I going to be okay with that? And what's he going to do to acknowledge I'm displacing myself to be with him, to make the relationship work, because he's a dad of, however many kids, or hopefully not too many. So there's the negotiating of that. Two people can have the funds, but then how do you negotiate who travels when and how often?
I'm just curious, and there's no right or wrong answer for this, but who pays? Does a man or woman pay for the trip? Just curious. I'm just curious
Good question.
what you guys have to say.
The one I was in a relationship with in my 20s, he paid. He paid,
good
and then
job.
sometimes we went half.
Oh, okay. Have a
Yeah,
conversation.
I think that's fair too. And I think it's like,
Yeah.
it depends on the dynamic, because trying to think, the first time I went to go see my ex, pretty sure he paid for my plane ticket there. And then we did like dinners and stuff like that. And like I paid, sometimes he paid. But I find that when I hear about long-term relationships, like on the internet, and I don't know, I've seen like shows and movies, I feel like it's always like, oh, you pay, then I pay, and then like you
Mhm.
travel to me, I travel to you. Like, but you're right, a kids or other obligations could add a whole nother layer to that.
Yeah.
Or even like having pets, I have a dog, so it's like if I was in that situation, I'd be like, hey, I'm bringing my dog, like here we come. But then if I, there's so many layers to it, but I think that
Yeah.
definitely having that talk, like you were saying, like when you first talk to someone, hey, we live 5 hours away from each other, how are we going to make this work, are we going to make it work, and then yeah, kind of bring up like, how are we going to meet, and who's going to be, paying. And I think another level to it too is, if you are in a long-term relationship, or I keep on saying long-term, long distance relationship,
That's a different approach.
planning. Right, planning the next time you're gonna see each other, because I think then you'll
Yeah.
you'll look forward to something. Because I know when I used to go out to visit my ex, and when he was deployed in the military, it was always like, okay, well, I want to know when I'm gonna see you next, because it was so sad, like leaving, you know what I mean? And I think just looking forward to that next time, and also then you can think like, okay, like we just got to get through the next couple months, and then we'll see each other again, and just having like an end date, if it's obviously like a long-term relationship and like you want to eventually live together.
Right.
I think having that end goal of, okay, this is where we want to maybe move together, or you come here, I come there, and kind of really getting to the root of that, because I think that's a huge factor in the whole thing too.
Yeah. I like that. Making sure what's the end? What we doing here? You know what I mean?
Is it
Right.
temporary or is it long term? Now, what if you end up like being this long distance relationship, say for 6 months, because time is of the essence. I ain't got time to waste.
Yeah.
And you're not on the same page on
Mm.
like I saw Amber's eyes go real wide. Oh my God. But to Janae's point, one person is cool doing the long distance thing, and the other person wants to eventually be in the same place. Never mind the same city. Like if we've decided to be together, I'm not moving into this city or your neighborhood. We're moving in together. Like this, to me, that would be the ultimate like goal.
Right.
But what if you end up with that kind of situation?
I'd be pissed.
Yeah.
Bye bye
Bye bye. Yeah. And how long until, that's a good question to follow up on that. How long do you
Test it out.
stay in the relationship? Yeah. Until they've given you that answer. And at what point, how long till you start talking about it? Is it something that you talk about right away? If you've met online and, they're coming down for the first time, like your instance, Karina, or,
Well, my love language is we got to talk about one of us doing the move.
yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Short term, long distance situation.
So how long would you guys be willing to wait for that or for that decision?
I think that's something I would want to address like at the top.
Yeah.
I think I would want to know at the top, like if we're feeling each other and we've had, say, I don't know, we've had a couple trips where we met up somewhere, or he came here or I went there, we like it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, it looks like we're enjoying each other's company, we're investing, we're making the time to see each other.
Right.
One, do we want to continue? And two, do we have an end game? Well, are either one of us in a position to make the move? Want to make the moves too?
Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I think like, I know time is also tough in a long distance relationship too, because it's like if you only see each other every 3 months, it's like, okay, well, I'm not going to see you for another 3 months. That's a 6 month total that I've only seen you twice. So it's almost like, how much longer can you sustain that? Like, obviously, if you're missing each other, you want to be with each other in the same area. It's almost like okay, well, are we gonna make the move? Yeah, are we gonna commit to living in the same area? I would say yeah, like less than a year, because I moved out, like we were only dating for like 4 or 5 months, and I was like, yep, I'm moving to Idaho, which was an
Oh,
experience in
wow.
itself.
And you did move.
Yeah, I lived there for like 2
Wow.
years. Yeah, it was wild. It was so wild. I would never change it, but it was because I didn't know anyone. Like, I'm from Massachusetts. I didn't know anyone there besides him and a couple of his friends. So, I mean, I had just turned 19 when I did this. Like, I literally got out of high school and just fucking moved across the country. It was
Right.
wild.
Wow. Wow. That's
Janae, can we ask, or I guess can I ask what ended the
because I
relationship?
wanted to
Oh,
know. I did want to know. So I was like,
good question. So unfortunately, we broke up a couple times. One of them, I'm pretty sure he was cheating on me, but I didn't really have 100% proof of it. It was like pictures that I found. I was like, I don't know about this.
yeah.
And then unfortunately we got back together, and he said like his feelings changed, and then again I found out like a month later he was like seeing another girl, and I'm pretty sure that that's why he broke up with me. And then I moved back to Massachusetts.
Hopefully he's paying a lot of child support. Anyway, sorry.
No kidding.
Um,
Crazy, crazy.
what advice would you give to somebody who is has moved, relocated, and
Mm,
maybe kind of similar situation, needs to get out?
mm.
What would you tell them?
So I would say first, always have a backup plan. And I
Oh,
know that sounds bad,
No, it's not.
but
no, it's not.
I really like I wish that I would have had like a backup plan. Like I could have always came home. That was always an option, but it wasn't something that I like necessarily wanted to do. So I always wished, looking back on it, that I wish that I had like a friend's house to move into, or just like something else that I could have done that I didn't have to like sleep on my old roommate's couch for a week. Like that wasn't fun. So I would say definitely have a backup plan. I would say definitely like have your boundaries, like understand that, or they have to understand that, if you're kind of doing the move, like you're going to have times where you're maybe homesick, or you're like going through the ringer. You don't really know anyone. You're still kind of gaining your balance of being in a new area that like you don't know anything, you don't know anyone, especially if you're working from home. Like you're probably sorry, but you're not going to know anyone. I find that when someone moves somewhere, either for a job or for a relationship, and they're working from home, you really get to put yourself out there. Actually, my fiance's mom did that recently. She moved to Texas, and she was working from home, and she had a really hard time meeting anyone. And she's single. Like she tried to go to different things and different events and church and all this stuff, but she was like, it was really hard because it's like I'm not going out all the time. Your work friends are some people that like it's really nice if you are at a location, you're at an office every day, that you can
Right.
kind of start to gain new friends. But like a work from home job, you don't really have that flexibility.
Mhm.
Um, and then I also think uh really doing cute things for each other too. Like I sometimes would like we'd make dinner together via FaceTime, and like doing activities to kind of make it seem like you're still like having a cute little date.
Yeah.
Maybe sending them food or vice versa. Going on a walk together like on your FaceTime date. Just like keeping it interesting, even sending them like letters or sexy pictures, and just like keeping it really freaking fun,
No
because I
dick
think
pics.
no
No
dick pics.
Unsolicited, not
No
No,
unsolicited
unsolicited.
dick pics.
absolutely
Yes.
not. I am That's an absolutely no for me. But hey, if you wanna, yeah, definitely make sure that they're cool with it. But I think just keeping it interesting, keeping it spicy. Um, I think just like really having fun with it, but also like knowing your boundaries and like
Yeah.
communicating the shit out of them. That
Yes. Yeah.
would be my
Janae,
best advice.
oh, sorry. Are you guys there?
Yeah, we're here.
Oh, no.
Oh, you're right there. We can hear
You're
you.
there?
Yes. It's okay. You'll edit
We
it.
had a little tech difficulty. But hey, Janae, I love what you said about the adjustment will be difficult because the person who's doing the move, are you guys there?
Mm.
Yeah, we're here.
Yep.
Okay.
We
I just
hear
got
you.
the memo that it's a little unstable,
Oh,
the internet. Anyway, I'll cut this out. The adjustment of the person who does the move is gonna be like, it's gonna take time. And I love that you made that point, because the person who's not doing the move should understand that they're gonna have to spend some time. Well, let me how do I say this? Just like understand that this person who's making the move doesn't know anybody here, works remotely.
mhm.
They're gonna need your help with getting to know the area, meeting people, providing suggestions, all that stuff. So if that decision does happen, the other partner should keep that in mind. So I'm glad you made that point.
Yeah, but that was a good one. I'm going.
Mm-hmm.
Kay, do you want to close this out with just some of the tips, and then we'll go through a couple of tips that we have, and then I'll close this out?
Like recap our tips.
Yeah,
Not the tip we're talking about,
not the same
but,
kind.
some suggestions. Okay, what did we talk about? We talked about if you have a remote job, it might be a little bit more doable
Mhm.
to have a long distance relationship. Janae mentioned, keeping it spicy. And if you're in a long distance relationship, keeping it spicy, be present. I mean, what I'm here is like, be present. So video calls, text messages. If you want to have a longer conversation with your partner, it might mean setting up a specific time in the day to do that. Gotta have the funds. I mean, if you're traveling to see your partner, you gotta save for that. So a flight, train, gas money, all of that, all of the above, it matters in your funds. What else did we talk about?
Make sure you have a plan for the next time you're going to see each other.
Yep, I like that.
Mhm.
Yep. Anticipate the next time you see each other.
Communication.
Get wax.
Is the thing. Get wax. The pink poodle.
Baby smooth, baby smooth.
Love it.
Those are just some tips. But the biggest question is whether or not you want to invest in a long distance relationship.
Yeah. Yes.
That's your first big question, whether or not you'd want to do that. So.
I would love to hear from some people. Comment down below. Let us know if you are in a long distance relationship. What are you doing to keep the spice, the trust, the love alive? And if you've been in a longer distance relationship and it didn't work out, we want to hear that too. So make sure you guys, comment below, and we can bring Janae back and have a part 2 on it or answer any questions. Janae, where can our viewers find you?
Yes, you can find me at My Naked Mindset on all of social media, Spotify, anywhere where you can find podcasts. And my personal page is at Jazzy Janae May.
Oh, I love that.
Ooh.
Is your middle name May?
Yes.
Oh,
Janae
that's so
May. It
cute.
rhymes.
That's right. I like it. I like it. All
Thank
right.
you.
And then, Kay, can we talk about that beautiful cover sitting behind you before we close out? Other side. There you go.
Yeah, my book Fired Up launched last Tuesday on May 9th. And been out for a week. I'm super excited about it. This is why we got together. Janae and Dan Perspective got together because we like to talk about relationships, and relationships is a hot topic. So my book is about that, relationships, and knowing yourself in a relationship, but most of all, loving and liking yourself.
Yes.
In a relationship first.
Yeah.
And loving and liking yourself when you're single. So that is the best and most important relationship you can have. So Fired Up is about that. Speaking of boundaries, it talks about that too, like what kind of boundaries you should set for yourself when you're in a relationship. And then my other book that you see with the black cover is called 13 Months Journey Through the Pandemic. Came out last year. But I know people are like, pandemic, it's over, we're fine, I survived, et cetera, et cetera. Very true. And I'm sure there's some things you learned about yourself during the pandemic that you're taking with you moving forward. So this is what this book is about, is my personal understanding and how I'm taking that with me moving forward.
Wonderful, wonderful. Where can they find it?
Amazon.com.
Janae, thank you so much for joining us. This has been lovely. Really appreciate you. And we hope to have you back. We hope you come back.
Oh, I would love to. And thank you so much for having me. My cheeks hurt from smiling so
I
much.
know.
So thank you. It's a good problem to have.
That's right. That's right. That's right. Well, thanks everybody who's listening. Make sure that you like, comment, subscribe, and we hope to see you next week. Bye.